Hello, good evening viewers. Welcome to PCEA Embakasi Online. This is the IT week. We're having a number of series that we're running every day, talking about key emerging issues in ICT. So today, we have a very interesting guest, and we'll be talking about AI, artificial intelligence. Everybody's wondering, what is this animal called artificial intelligence? So our guest today is Jimmie Mwangi. Jimmie is currently the Chief Digital Information Officer at DTB Group, who has over 2 decades of experience spanning from financial services, technology, banking, and other industries. He's worked in several sectors, as well as different countries in Kenya and South Africa. Jimmie is passionate about digital and business transformation. Jimmie, welcome to the show.
Thank you, and good evening, viewers.
Thank you. Jimmie, as we begin, I think it's important that you tell us a bit about your role, especially at DTB Group.
Sure. So my name is Jimmie Mwangi. As introduced by Joe, I'm the Chief Information and Digital Officer, taking care of IT. So IT in DTB, basically we call it digital IT. This is a department that covers the enterprise IT, that is things like architecture, software development, including cybersecurity, project management, and up and above that, we also run a very innovative group arm of DTB that we call DTBX, and this is the one that is working more on innovation, building solutions for customers. We always say we build solutions, not products.
Thank you very much, Jimmie, for that particular introduction. Innovations, and here we are here to talk about innovations, AI innovations. So maybe as an introduction to the topic today, AI, in your own understanding in a layman language, what is AI or what is artificial intelligence?
Okay, yeah, so very, very controversial topic, if I may say, especially now across the globe. And AI is not new. Artificial intelligence actually started around 1950s. And over the years, we have seen improvement. I think after initially around 1950s, 60s, a lot of focus was on whether it can do what humans do. And one of the tests was around chess, a game of chess. Everybody believed that chess will only be won by humans and machines will not win. I think until around late 70s, when an AI model actually defeated the world champion. So it has been a journey, but basically it is using models, and we'll discuss that a lot around, I'm sure, around data, around how it's built. But with this, we are creating intelligent systems that are able to simulate or to do what humans do. Basically reason, think, communicate, and all that. What we call a human being is what AI is trying to simulate, basically.
All right, thank you. Interesting conversation there. Who knew that AI started in the 50s? We're thinking of AI started recently, and from what you're saying, it started early. Yes, you talked about data, yes, but what different types of AIs do we have currently? Yeah.
Okay, so it's a broad question in terms of looking at the types of AI. So I'll just focus on one side, which is called, because we have functionality-based and we have capability-based as well. So if I just keep on capability, because it's more interesting down to the ground for the conversation, we have one that we call narrow AI. So narrow AI is also called weak AI, and that's what we are using today. And what this does is, it's just an algorithm or a module that does only one thing. So you will find, like if you have Siri, for example, for guys using Siri on Apple devices. So you find it can only do one thing. I mean, Siri, Alexa as well. They can only do one thing, as Alexa on Amazon. So you ask a question, it gives you an answer. Now that is narrow. Even autonomous vehicles, even what we call NLP today, extraction of information from documents. So what this does is you program it to do only one thing, and it's constrained to do only that one thing. So that's why it's called weak AI, and that's what we're experimenting with globally today. After that, we have another one that is more a general AI. I'm sure some of us have heard artificial general intelligence. So what this does, still very much in research. We haven't really cracked that yet. I think Fujitsu, some Chinese universities are leading in the research. And what this means is we are trying to actually now move from the narrow AI and get to be more cognitive on these systems. So whereby the systems can think, the systems can reason, they don't have to focus on one narrow thing, like, you know, what I described on narrow side, and it can actually change dimensions and do more than just one thing. The third level, after that, we have super AI. So that remains purely a concept so far, not much movement, but this will be where AI is seen to become better than humans. So it's another level where whatever we do, our limitations will actually be overcome by AI. So that is a journey. As I said, it's only narrow AI that we have today. The other one is a theoretical it's in theoretical frameworks that a lot of research going on, and the super AI is in the future. So then apart from that, I think that's capabilities. We can talk about other classifications like machine learning. We can talk about natural language processing, which basically again goes more towards data and how we are training models today to do what humans do basically.
Right, thank you. I think, like you said, it's broad. We require a whole day to discuss about the different types. But I think we can just narrow down to the narrow AI type, or the weak one, yeah. So can you give us some real world-class examples of where AI is used in the current world today, yeah? Yeah.
So AI is finding a very broad usage across the industries. And if I was to look at each and every industry, none is not affected.
Yeah.
None is not being transformed. So, and the way I transforming industries, one of them I can talk about banking, where I work at DTB. Yeah. And in banking, we're using AI very broadly. Even in this bank, we have implemented some models. The models can do credit scoring. We use data to score you and actually know your affordability and all that. But up and above that is also on things like customer service, chatbots. Customers actually chatting to a bot, not to a human, and it doing accessing all the data we need on knowledge management as well. But if I go to other industries, you also have, and that's just an example. I think in banking is broad, even things like algorithmic trading, things like monitoring of systems, networks, cybersecurity, and all that. But then if I go to other industries, we know transport industry, I think that's one area that everyone understands, that we have autonomous vehicles that will drive without any driver, just using cameras, sensors, and be able to do what exactly a driver would do and drive itself across the city, including in traffic jams as well. In the US, we have now seen autonomous trucks, which have eliminated the job that we know as a truck drivers to a great extent. And I think it estimated that that will continue. Then if you look at things like entertainment industry, for us again who are on Netflix, the way Netflix predicts and tells you, you can watch this, Joe, you can watch this other one, because they're using a lot of data to actually understand people of your kind of, your demographic. So they can use that data and be able to predict what you would love to watch. So that is on entertainment and even music and other areas. Then if I look at health sector, health has been very much transformed, whereby AI bots now can read data and be able to actually tell when there is a sickness, and especially for like CT scans, all those radiographic content, it can actually go and read and actually be able to tell where there is a change in cells on bone or bone formation, and be able to actually prescribe and all that. So we have seen it affect even teaching, whereby we now have what we call intelligent teachers. And I must say even religion as well. We have AI priests in some places. So it's actually affecting each and every industry. If I go one-on-one, including manufacturing, I go to retail, we have seen even the same thing on predicting what someone is buying on an e-commerce website. So basically AI has been very, very much with us and used across different areas. You interact with AI almost every day, knowingly or not knowingly, because even YouTube, as you watch movies, you can see today, if you start watching music, it will actually give you some type of music that you like watching.
Yeah.
So basically interacting with AI day to day.
Yeah, thank you for that analogy. AI is being used every day in our lives. So I want us to now focus more on the banking sector. You having been working the banking sector in Kenya and South Africa as well, and DTB here. DTB has been a pioneer when it comes to innovations, to automations. So DTB has been one of the banks that have moved from, I would say, Tier 2 to Tier 3, using digital innovation, and from Tier 2 to Tier 1, using digital innovations. So, and one of the things that I've seen is on account opening, DTB has gone massive on digitizing the whole process. I recently saw adverts on TV where it's saying that you can open your account within 5 minutes and you start funding and operating that. I'm sure there's a lot of AI involved in that. Can you take us through that particular journey of that process of automating that particular process of having to open the accounts digitally without any human interaction with using AI?
Okay, thank you very much. And yes, that's very correct. DTB moved from Tier 2 to Tier 1, a very strong player in the banking sector, and not only in Kenya, but also in Tanzania, in Uganda, and in Burundi as well. And looking at what we have done around onboarding, so very much as Joe, you have described, is as a customer is onboarding, and it's both self-service and assisted onboarding. So we're using AI models at the back. And what these models do, one is to extract data because it's completely automated. This bot can pick data from documents, for example, and extract them. We do not have to repeat and type the data again. But most importantly is also, you know what I called NLP, the National Language Processing. Yeah. Now in this case, we also have another one, which is understanding an image. And not only understanding it, can extract and look at features. A human being looking at a face, like when I look at your face, I think I can see 4 or 5 spots. But when it's an AI bot, it can see up to 3,000 or more points on the face and be able to tell that this person comparing with this document is the same. At the same time, we're also calling government services and using the bot to actually look at the data from government and compare it with your face. But up and above that, we're also checking that you are alive. So there is a liveness check that also the bot would do. And kind of when you are told move your head, we're actually checking that you are reading and you are actually responding to the request as well. So basically that's it. But up and above that, there are other digital technologies we have used, like workflow management, to make sure that the workflow is also streamlined and we have our people doing more strategic work rather than repetitive, boring tasks, I may say.
Thank you. I think one of the things that we're also seeing with the advancement of technology is that there is need to have security in place, because as we're advancing, then there are also a lot of security concerns that are coming in place. So in terms of AI, you know, this rapid technology advancement, how is AI handling the security issues around that here?
Interesting. So AI, in a lot of ways, and in my discussions previously with different forums, different people, AI is seen as a threat to network systems, computer systems. But actually on the other side, AI is also a very big contributor to threat detection, for example. So using data, it's able to pick any, changes in behavior, for example. Even users. We have looked at systems that can understand each and every user's behavior. And when there is a diversion from that behavior, then it would actually respond and even do an auto response. It can stop things. So it's not only detecting, but you can also program it to actually intervene and respond to a perceived threat. And with that, it's a very much collaborating with humans, of course, to look at the network. And another thing is also mentioning network. So even network analysis, packets, how data is moving across the network. AI is the best tool right now because it can analyze all that and pick anomalies. And with that, it's actually contributing greatly to the cybersecurity as well globally.
All right. Thank you for that analogy. Interesting that AI is helping to actually look at security. It's helping us to enhance the security as opposed to introducing more security concerns. It's helping us on the other areas as well. You've talked about threats. And the big question right now out there is, will AI replace humans? Because we are seeing a lot of automations, a lot of work that was done by human being taken over by AI. But the big question is, will AI replace human beings?
So the honest answer is nobody knows. Well, so just the other day, the World Economic Forum, which has been discussing this quite greatly and looking at the impact of AI on society, on jobs, there was a declaration that 40% of jobs will disappear. And in developed world, up to 60%. So one, is it an existential threat to humans? My view is no. Previously in history, there has never been a technology that just killed jobs without replacing them. And in this way, a lot of jobs, yes, will go, but new jobs will also come up. And with that, I'm just looking at, there are some jobs that definitely will be directly impacted. I talked about the drivers, and truck driving, for example, in the US is a big industry in transport. And now that we have autonomous vehicles, the question is what happens to those drivers? Then it's not only that. I talked about chatbots in banking. What happens to contact centers in the future? Because customer service has been a very broad area, a big industry, especially in Africa, where outsourcing, saw the creation of this as a big industry. But now coming with the bots, what does that mean to the people who service in that space? I think a lot of others, even teachers, because now you can teach yourself. Bots are being trained every day. And as bots get trained, and remember what we said even on things like machine learning, where it's just an arm of AI which is learning through data. Now the point is that data, for the model to run, for the statistical model to learn, you need to have a human to train it. And for humans to train it, then the people who have done the job are the ones generating the data. So there have been that question. I think I look at it more as it's not a bias. It's more a question on ethics, where how exactly we deploy these models. What is the involvement of the users who are being affected? Who trains them for the new skills that we are saying we have to train for new skills? So I think if you look from government point of view, from industry, there is a need to retrain staff. There is a need to change curriculum. How are we going to change this curriculum? I think you would understand that it takes up to how many years to train a human being? Probably 20, 25 years.
Yeah.
But a bot can train within a month or two, and can do exactly what someone is doing. And most importantly, Joe, maybe I may mention that the area of our brain that deals with logic is very easy to replace.
Yes.
The area of our brains that deal with intuition, creativity, human warmness will be not very easy to replace. Yeah. And therefore, it's not only taking jobs, it's going to create more, because probably that's now what makes us more human. Working on jobs that are more strategic, more human, growth. But whenever it's these repetitive tasks, even for a pastor in church, instead of me sitting down and doing a lot of operational work, basically, they can focus more on the strategic part of growing the church, for example, and then use bots to generate content and all that kind of stuff. So basically there will be a change. I look at it more as a disruption, and you know what they say, disrupt yourself or get disrupted.
Yeah. All right, thank you very much. I think from what I'm hearing, then there's an opportunity for us to use AI to create more jobs, for us to re-innovate, for us to be more focused on other areas, to be more strategic, and probably a mindset change is what will help us to be sustainable, to remain working with AI. But if we relax and let AI take over everything, then it could take our jobs. But we have to be innovative. We have to think about the other space that we have to do, so that we can compete. Technology has taken over almost every industry, like you're saying here. AI is in every industry. And from the church's perspective, from a religious perspective also, so taking up that space. How would you say that AI can be used to for the churches to engage their congregants? Yeah, how is AI used in the church space?
Correct. So again, because the impact of AI, as you said, is in every industry, including religion. Some areas that AI definitely is contributing a lot in religion include communication. Communication and content creation as well. So if you look at both, they're related in a way that you create content and then you share. But it's not only sharing, you can use AI to understand the behaviors of the congregation. And we all different demographics again. You have young, middle age, old generation stuff. So you can actually generate a specific content for each of them. You can analyze behavior. There are some outliers which before it was very difficult to manage outliers, like a young guy who likes old people content. And with AI, you can actually be able to identify such, because it's also integrated very much with social media. if the church understands the behavior of certain person on social media, then you kind of can automatically craft what kind of communication and content do I need for this person. I think that's one. But the other, I think it's quite a lot, because with data, you also can form predictive models. So you're able to tell the future of the church in terms of growth, looking at the trajectory and looking at the past data. Because remember, with all these, we just talked about capabilities. We didn't go functionalities of AI as a classification. And if I went that side, you'd find there are some AI models that are very good in predicting, and some AI models that will not look backwards. They'll just work from today, like chess does that. The chess player is just now on the board. I make decisions. What is the next step? But it doesn't refer back to history. And there are some models that will be very good in looking at the historical data and predicting the future as well. So I think all those, and then we also have what I mentioned as AI priest, where we have some organizations now using AI as a priest. So you can actually talk to it, chat to it. It can even pray for you and generate prayers and all that. So basically anything we have thought about can be done. That's it. You think about it, AI can do it. So I think the transformation of the religious sector definitely will also be very much witnessed as we see the transformation in others as well.
Wow, thank you very much. Interesting. AI priest, will you be there once? We are looking forward to that time when everything is predicted and you can be able to get all the services to the niche. As we are winding up, Jimmie, you've worked in both Kenya and South Africa. I think we'll want you to give us a synopsis of the difference between the IT industry in Kenya and South Africa. Sometimes when you go to South Africa, they say, we have a strategy for Africa, or we are taking this product to Africa. And when they mean that, they mean the rest of Africa, not including South Africa. So here we are comparing South Africa and Africa on a lighter note here.
Okay, sure, yeah. I once worked for an organization that had the rest of Africa and South Africa. Yeah. But yes, I think looking at that and looking at the tech space, very similar but very distinct at the same time. Kenya seems to be very innovative, and especially around the movement of money. And this is basically solving very ground level problems. So it's innovation that solves for ordinary mwananchi. A lot of that I think Kenya leads quite well, starting with mobile money, as started years ago. On the other side, if I look at South Africa, very mature, very, very mature tech space. That maturity, of course, coming over many years. It's not only having fintechs like Kenya does, it also is very mature when it comes to venture capital market, for example. So you have a lot of investors who are focused on South Africa basically because of that maturity. And not only that, South Africa also attracts the big techs. So you have a lot of them. All these guys, Amazon and name them, are all having very big bases in both Cape Town and Johannesburg, which gives them a very good market. First, starting with South Africa itself, which is, of course, a mature market, bigger economy, and also having very good access around the country. So in my years working in South Africa, Botswana, in Namibia, sometimes in Mozambique as well, and then working in Kenya, I think the comparison is, yes, Kenya has some catch up to do, especially around the big tech space, but South Africa also has a lot to catch up, especially on mobile money. So that's why I said very similar but distinct in a lot of ways as well.
All right, thank you very much, Jimmie. So like you've heard, in Kenya, we are also leading in technology on some of the areas. South Africa, yes, is leading on some of the areas, being a mature market. But one thing I can say in terms of technology, it's not like the other industrial revolution. In the fifth industrial revolution now of technology, we are moving at the same pace with the rest of the world. We can't say that we are lagging behind as a third world. We are moving ahead. We've seen a lot of companies coming to Kenya to also benchmark with us, especially in the financial sector. Like you said, M-Pesa was a big innovation that has been seen from Kenya. There are other innovations that are coming from this country as well. As we are winding up, Jimmie, I think it's important that you give us your closing remarks.
Oh, thank you. I think one is the focus on training. So as I said, and looking at the difference in the markets, especially the developing world and the developed world, first world and us, there is a lot of work that needs to be done. And I think religion is one of the areas that Africa has quite broadly and has like kind of adopted. And with this, religious organizations, churches and others will have to contribute a lot in terms of educating the masses, making them understand the impact of technologies, because with all this, there comes change. And normally, humans, as I said, we are not also very quick in adopting change. It takes us long time to train, but we have models that can learn driving, which would take me maybe a year to actually master or more. I think a year's driver is still very young driver, but looking at the bot, it can do it in a month and drive everywhere across Africa and across the world. So I think for the developing world is to have the structures to catch up with the developed world in terms of technology adoption. And this will be, of course, great for the future generations in Africa especially.
Thank you very much. You've heard from Jimmie. Technology is driving the world. That's where we are moving to. Technology is also driving the churches today. So let us continue to innovate. Let us continue to adopt technology in everything that we do from a positive manner. Let us not think that is going to replace us, but there's a lot of positive coming out from technology advancement. So that has been Jimmie from DTB Bank, the Group Chief Information and Digital Officer, giving us analysis today on AI. We are continuing these particular conversations. Tomorrow we'll have another conversation on technology, and the day after. So welcome as you continue to join us at PCEA Embakasi Online. My name is Joe Kiragu. I was your host for today. Thank you very much and have a good evening.
Thank you.